Hello, I'm Michelle Tees, for those of you who don't know me, and I am lucky enough to be here today to talk to you about one of my favorite things about the doTERRA business, and that is teaching a class. And I know that's a topic that makes some of you feel a little bit nervous or antsy, but I'm hoping that after we chat a little today that you'll relax and realize that it's not as scary as you're making it out to be. Hopefully at this point in your business, if you're looking at teaching classes, you have already gone through a lot of the manual and have, I don't want to say mastered because we're always looking to improve, but you're feeling comfortable with the one-on-one script. You feel good talking to somebody just individually about essential oils and all of their uses. And if that is the case, then this is seriously going to be a piece of cake for you because it's basically the same thing. I know, you're thinking, no, it's not. I don't want to talk in front of everybody. But it actually is, because here's the scoop. You don't have to stand up in front of a room and talk to everybody. You can, if you want to have a very large class and you want it to be that format, you absolutely can stand up in your kitchen, in your living room, while the rest of your friends and family are gathered and sitting down looking up at you. But what I have learned through coaching some people on my team is that that makes them nervous, and that's the reason why classes scare them. So what we've done is we've said, guess what, you don't have to do that. Let's take that part out of this equation, and we have found that when we just sit together at a kitchen table and talk about oils, we share some snacks and pass the oil bottles around, we literally are having better results than if we're standing up in front of a big class. Now, granted, if you have a big group, that's what you're going to have to do. But most of our classes, I would say on average, my classes are 3 to 5, 6 people, and that's the perfect size class to just sit down at your kitchen table. Like I said, have a bowl of popcorn, some flavored water, and we just pass our oils around in a circle, and I'm sitting with my group, and I'm just leading the conversation. And that's all it has to be to teach a class. So I'm going to talk about exactly what that conversation is going to look like, but I just wanted to first paint that picture in your mind so that you understand when we talk about teaching a class that it doesn't mean you have to stand up in front of a room and talk, because for some reason that scares people. And if that excites you and energizes and motivates you, then by all means you go for it and you do that, because that is how I started teaching classes, and I don't mind doing that. But I've also found this way, just sitting down with your friends around a kitchen table can be super effective and just work awesome. So let's, now that we've kind of got that visual in our mind, let's talk about what we're going to do as we start that conversation. So usually what happens, my guests never all arrive at the same time. So then you always have that kind of awkward time where people are, you know, you're kind of making small talk, which is good because you want to build that relationship with the people who are coming. But then, you know, sometimes you're just kind of waiting and it starts to feel a little bit awkward. So at that point, what I do is I hand them their teaching guide. You don't need to have a teaching guide. I have one, and I've made it myself because I've not been in love with any of them that I have found. You may find a TerraPad or a teaching guide that you absolutely love, and if that's the case, go with it. If you don't have one that you love, then you don't really need one at all, or make one that you love and make one that you just is, you know, simply type up some key things that you want to make sure that your people walk away with knowing. And you can use that. But whatever your goal is, however you're doing it, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's basically you're gathering people to just talk to them about the amazing benefits of essential oils. So that's your main goal. So remember that. Don't get caught up in these little things. But so I invite them into the house as we're waiting that in-between time. I actually just invite them to start writing some things down about some health conditions or some health goals that brought them to the class. That way, they themselves are setting a purpose. Their mind is already starting to focus on why they're there and what answers that they want to get before they leave. So that helps me to kind of just create that purpose for them being there. So all I do is I say, okay, so while we're waiting for the rest of our guests to arrive, I know you're all coming here with some health goals in mind. So why don't you just right now take a couple minutes, and on the back of this piece of paper, or in my paper, I actually have a spot for it. I'm like, just go ahead and write down a couple of the health goals that you want to make sure you leave with answers to tonight. Okay? And then I just wait. I give them some time. And if they're really kind of stuck and looking around odd, then I'll prompt them and I'll say, like, I know Suzanne is here today because her son is really suffering with some seasonal threats and allergies going on. So I know that she wants me to address that tonight. So she would go ahead and write that, but maybe something else brought you here. So if there's something else that brought you here, just go ahead and take some time to write that down. Okay, and we're going to come back to this later on in the presentation, so that's why I give them time right now to think about it, so that way I'm not catching them off guard later. And then the rest of the guests come and they sit down, we chit chat for a minute, and then we get started. And I really try to get started within 5 minutes at the time that I said I was going to. It's almost impossible to start right at the time because you always have stragglers coming and going. However, I've also found it really nice to put a sign out by my door. I've bought an easel and a chalkboard, and I put it out there, welcome to Essential Oils, you know, Discover doTERRA, whatever you're calling your class. And I put it out there, and then I put a big asterisk on the bottom, and I said, come right in, we are expecting you. Okay, so that way I'm not interrupted to have to keep leaving to go answer the door when people come. They just walk right in, have a seat, and it's okay if we've already started. So that's been a really easy way to get flowing, so that way I get started earlier and on time for those guests who have arrived on time. Okay, so how do I get started? First of all, the very first thing you want to do is always set an agenda. When people come, they want to know what's going to happen, how long they're going to be there, and what they're going to leave with. What is the main goal? Okay, those are going to be some 3 basic things that they want to know right off the get-go. So you want to tell them, and this is, a lot of this that we're going to talk about is right in your manual. So I'm actually just going to be referring to this Essential Training Manual, and the class script is on page 19. And as you can see, I have notes in mind because I will have it out when we're teaching, and we refer back and forth to it, and that's fine. As a matter of fact, the first line says, let me start off with what we are going to do today. I'm going to read from my paper so I don't go off on any tangents and waste your time. You're right there telling them that I'm reading, and they're going to be cool with it because you're telling them why. Because I don't want to waste your time. They're not going to care if you're reading. Don't overcomplicate this. Read if you need to. If you're not secure and you're not comfortable, you have the script right here. Bring it out and just read right from it. Okay, thank you for coming. Thank you all so much for coming in. Thank you, Melissa, for hosting and welcoming us all into your house today. Today, we are going to go over all of your individual health goals. Okay, we're telling them what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about doTERRA. We're going to learn about how to use essential oils, and we're going to talk about the 2 most popular kits to get you started. My part is going to take 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything today, but if you do see something that you like and you want to try, I'll of course help you order it today too. My goal is to empower you and give you safe, natural options for your health. That's my introduction. Easy, right? That's all you need to do. After that, they're engaged, they're intrigued, they know what to expect, they know it's going to be a half an hour of their time, and then you need to get moving. So you quickly introduce yourself. Now, we've already gone over, one of the prior lessons was building your story, was creating your story. So this is the time that you're going to tell your story. And remember, this isn't long-winded. This is no more than 2 minutes. My story probably takes 30 to 45 seconds. I keep it really short and sweet. I tell them who I am, you know, what brought me to doTERRA, and then I do go ahead and remind and tell them that, you know, I had no intentions of sharing essential oils or doing this for a business, but when you find something so simple that is so effective and has changed my life, I can't help but want to share it with my family and friends, which is why I'm here today teaching you about this. Okay? Then I bring the focus back to them. So we started with telling what you're going to expect. I bring it to me. I tell them who I am, why I'm here. Then I bring it right back to them, and I ask them for input. What brought you here today? you know, I invited you to write down some of the health goals that you have. I would love for you to share those so I know specifically what things that I want to talk about when we go over the uses for the essential oils. Okay? And then we go around and I let them give me ideas. Now, if there's a large class, then I'll write it down, because otherwise I'll forget as I get talking and then I won't cover all of the needs. But if I have 2 or 3 people, I usually can remember, because let's be real, most of the things that they're going to say are things that are covered in the top 10 anyways, right? So I write them down, I nod, I don't go into detail, I don't say, oh yes, I totally have an oil for that, yes, that too. I just shake my head, yeah, what else? What else? And I acknowledge their symptom and I ask what else. And I keep doing that until I feel like we've got a lot going on and that we've you know, gone through all of the stuff on their list. And then at that point I say, okay, so what do you already know about doTERRA? And then I let them talk. And sometimes they know a lot. In fact, my favorite answer was, well, I know that this is the name brand to buy and not the cheap stuff that I can see at the grocery store. I love that answer. But we don't always get that. But sometimes we get good, sometimes we get bad, sometimes we get questions. But I just let them talk a little bit and I acknowledge it. And then I read right from the script, because it's so beautifully written. I just tell them the company story. I say, so let me tell you a little bit about doTERRA. They are the largest essential oil company in the world. They started because they wanted to empower families to use natural solutions in their everyday life. So families turn to us when their current approach to health is not achieving the results they desire, when they're tired of using chemical concoctions for literally everything, and they're confused by all the natural options out there. They just don't have time to research it all. They want more energy for the things they love to do in their life without the side effects of all the stimulants. They want to increase the overall quality of life for them and for their family. doTERRA offers a full line of essential oil kits to support your family's health goals, whatever they may be. Did you know that the oils you find at the health or grocery stores claim to be 100% pure, but many just add a small amount of the actual essential oil and the rest can be fillers and synthetics? It's such false advertising. Even on Amazon, the doTERRA oils that you buy have found to be altered and then resold. So doTERRA has raised the bar in the industry when it comes to quality. There are no fillers, no artificial ingredients, and no dilution. The plants are grown in their native habitat. We actually source from over 40 different countries, and all of our oils go through 13 different levels of testing to ensure purity and potency. So you can feel comfortable knowing that you are getting the best quality for you and for your family when you reach for doTERRA. doTERRA is the most trusted and the most tested essential oil company out there. So this means when you see the doTERRA label, you can be assured that you'll get the highest health benefits from essential oils. And if you don't like it, you can return it within 30 days and you'll get 100% product credit to try something different, or you'll get 90% credited back into your account. Okay, so now I've told them all they need to know about doTERRA, and then we move on to how to use essential oils, because that's usually the next question that people want to know. So after that's said, that they can get back into their account, I say, okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how exactly we use essential oils, because for a lot of you, this is brand new. And then I go through the 3 ways. We can use it aromatically, topically, internally. I give them examples of each, and I give them a brief health benefit of using it each way. So that way they can paint that picture in their mind. Then I offer them the good old peppermint and wild orange in their hands. And I do that, and as I explain to them, now I'm going to give you sometimes it's their first essential oil experience. But I offer them that, and I say, just go ahead and rub them together, cup it over your nose, and breathe in deeply. And I have them experience it. And you all know from doing this before that they're usually pretty surprised at how strong that is. And then I have them go ahead and rub the back of their neck so they can also get a little topical experience at the same time. Okay, now that they've experienced that, it's time to start right on into the top 10 oils. And you can start with whichever you choose. I usually end up starting with peppermint because it's fresh in their mind, it's on their hands, it's what we just experienced. So we talk about it, and we talk about, yeah, you could feel that. It's invigorating, it clears up any congestion that we have going on. We just talk about some of the basic uses. One rule of thumb that I like to kind of keep in the back of my mind is if the oil if there was a health goal that they've already communicated to me, then I usually keep each oil to about 1 sentence. You know what? I include that health goal. They know it. They're shaking their head going, oh, because remember, as soon as they're doing this, you've sold them on that oil. And you don't need to talk anymore. At that point, you shut up and you move to the next oil, okay? Because you don't want to overdo it. When they do this, they want that oil, okay? They've set a purpose for it. So it's time to move on. Don't overcomplicate it. You can go into the other 100 uses for peppermint oil on their follow-up appointment, but you don't need to complicate it during this class, okay? So anyways, like I said, rule of thumb, if it addresses a health condition that they came with or that somebody brought up in the class, usually I keep it to, you know, like 1-2 sentences at the very most. If it didn't, if it addresses like different things, like sometimes oregano is just kind of that oil that's just out there. So, but it's an amazing oil, don't get me wrong. There's so many uses for it, and there's so many, it's great to have that one. We all know that we need to have oregano in our medicine cabinet. But if they aren't coming with a specific need, then I just try to add in like 2 or 3 sentences. I go on a little bit more about it, hoping to trigger a need in their life. And I really like when I'm talking about essential oils in this format, I like to paint the picture first. You know, and I say, oh, you know those nights when you just can't fall asleep and everything is running through your mind and you're just feeling really restless? Well, this is the oil for that. I like to keep that saying in my script a lot. This is the oil for that. You paint the picture and then you should tell them the need. This, you know, when you go out to dinner and you overeat and you eat that food that you know doesn't agree with your stomach, this is the oil for that. Obviously, we're talking about digestion, right? And then you give them the simple way of using it. Another little hint that I'm going to tell you as I go through these uses, and I'm not going to go through them all right now because we all know them, and because I know you've all have successfully done one-on-ones by this point. So this is pretty much reviewing what you're doing in a one-on-one just in front of more people. But I also need to or make a point of referring to the diffuser a lot as I'm talking about those needs. And I do that for a reason, because that's building value during this whole presentation to the higher end kit, to the Home Essentials kit at the end of the presentation, okay? So keep that in mind as you're doing it. Yes, you can take it internally. You know, you can use lemon, lavender, and peppermint internally for allergies. You can use it topically for allergies. You know what else? We also diffuse it. We diffuse it overnight. I diffuse it in the day when I'm cooking in the kitchen. I'm talking about using it in the diffuser often as well. And I kind of do that for all of the uses. I make sure that I bring up the diffuser because, once again, we want to make sure that they're seeing the need for this diffuser at the end of the presentation. Okay, so just a quick review as you're going through the oils. You want to keep it brief, 1 to 3 sentences for each oil. You want to relate it to their health conditions that they've shared with you or their health goals. And you want to paint the picture in their mind, give them the scenario, and then this is the oil for that. And then you want to create a need or a value for that diffuser. So you want to make sure you're talking about you diffusing the oils throughout your presentation as well. Okay, that's it for that part. Then as I finish, I say, okay, now as I mentioned earlier, you do not have to buy anything. I like to remind them so that way they feel like, ooh, okay, because now comes the sales pitch, right? But I remind them right off the get-go, as soon as I finish with all this, I say, now as I mentioned earlier, you do not have to buy anything today. But I could tell a lot of you were excited as I was talking and nodding your head. So that was telling me that you're interested in learning a little bit more about how to get these oils in your home. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to go on to now and tell you about our 2 most popular kits. Easy transition, right? And now they're intrigued and they want to know. So then I move on and I just tell them about the 2 kits. I myself love to have them both displayed. So I'll have on, if I'm talking around my kitchen table, I'll have on our island or the counter next to the table the Home Essential kit, and then I'll have the Family Essentials kit. That way they can visually see it. And if you are very good at selling the Home Essentials kit, then for me personally, I don't have the Family Essentials kit. I'll do the Home Essentials and the Natural Solutions kit. And I have both of them sitting out for them to visually see. So they're not just looking at the picture, but I have them out. I have them labeled. People can look at them. They can see everything that they offer. But then at this point, I do go through and I talk to them about it. And I say, okay, these are your 2 most popular kits. Both of these kits are going to come with the 10 oils that we talked about today. This kit is called the Home Essentials Kit, and it will have the larger bottles. They're 15 milliliters. Each bottle has 250 drops in each. And remember, these essential oils are very potent. So 1 drop is usually a serving. So really this bottle is like 250 servings in this bottle. I'm creating value, right? In this kit, you're also going to get this pedal diffuser that runs for 4 hours. This is a wonderful kit. It is the most popular kit that my customers choose. You get all of this for only $275. Then you either go down to the Family Essentials kit and you talk about this kit offers you the same 10 essential oils. You just get the smaller bottles rather than the larger bottles. And this kit doesn't give you the diffuser, but you'll still have a great base to make over your medicine cabinet with these top 10 essential oils. You don't want to make it sound like they're getting, less than the best by choosing that one if that's what fits into their budget. Okay, so that's a great way to present that. If you're talking up to the next kit, to the Natural Solutions kit like I do, then I say, I talk about the one being a great way to make over your medicine cabinet. And I say, now some people are all in tonight and they're ready to go non-toxic all around and they want a whole house makeover. And this is going to be a really great kit for them to get started on that because it's going to offer you the oils that we talked about tonight, plus a couple other of our awesome products. And then I will briefly touch base about the shampoos, for sure about the vitamins, and just some of the extra oils that you get included in that kit. And then I just let them look at them. And with that being said, most of the people want to know, can I do this and what's in it for me, right? So now we've established that what's in it for them, they've got it, but can they do it? They're nervous to take this step because this is really overwhelming. So I like to acknowledge that. And I say, I know that starting something new can be overwhelming, but that's what I'm here for. With your oils comes me and my guidance. We will make a plan together when your oils come in. We'll review all the uses for them. I'll make sure that you're empowered and you know exactly how to use your oils. I'll also gift you, and this is up to you if you are gifting, but I choose to gift my people with an oil guide. So I show them the Essential Life book at this point and make sure that they know that that's going to come with the purchase of one of the kits. But if that's not what you're doing, then maybe it's the A to Z small guides. Maybe it's just explaining to them that doTERRA has some great downloadable books that you can use as references. Whatever it is, I also tell them about the website or the Facebook groups, the support groups. But you need to brand yourself and let them know that, yes, these are amazing oils, but guys, you also get me, and I am going to make sure that you use these and know what to do with them. Okay? So brand yourself at that point. Then I give them the kit, the class in the box enrollment form or just the regular enrollment form. I say, okay, So now your next step is to fill out your form and choose which kit you'd like. And then it's sometimes overwhelming for people to make a decision when you're sitting over there watching them. So at that time, I said, I'm going to let you think about this, and I'm going to run to the bathroom, or I'm going to go get a drink of water, or whatever I'm going to do. I just make an excuse, and I leave the room and give them a couple minutes to digest all the information that they learned, to think without me hovering over them, and to start filling out their sheet. They have the sheets. They know that they have to fill it out. I welcome them to go up and browse through all the other essential oils in the kits that I have. And then I leave and I let them think and do their own thing. When I come back, I make small talk around with each of the people, and I say, oh, so which kit was your favorite? Or if you were going to go home with a kit today, which kit would it be? Sometimes if you tweak your wording a little bit and say it that way, if you were going to go home today with a kit, which would your favorite be, or which would you prefer? The hypothetical question makes it less committing. So there, it will let them strike that conversation up so you can talk to them a little bit more about it. But then you just go through the exact same closing as you would when you do your one-on-one. You talk them through it. If they say, oh, I want that home essential kit, I'm like, great. Do you need me to help fill out this paperwork, or do you have any questions on getting this filled out? And you encourage them to get it done. Let's get it ordered. Or you say, oh, that's such a great pick. You know what, if we order it today, you'll have it, if today's Tuesday, you'll have it by the end of the week. Or, give them that time frame, because a lot of times people like to know that it's coming fast, and it makes them pull the trigger to actually get it done that day. Okay? If they say, yeah, but I just can't get it, it's a little bit out of my price range, well, then you know that you can backpedal it and say, oh, well, then this is a great option for you. And for me, if I present the Home Essentials and the Natural Solution, and they're even telling me the Home Essentials kit is too much, well, then that's the point that I bring in, oh, well, you know what? The cool thing about doTERRA is that there's actually a beginner kit for everybody at every budget. So let me tell you about another option that might be better for you, or might be a better fit for you. And then I introduce that one. So we can get you the same oils, but just for smaller bottles. Would that work better for your budget? And we try to seal the deal that way. Okay, and that is pretty much it. The only other thing that I like to throw in there while I'm thanking them for coming and for giving me their time, I like to brand myself one more time and just make it known to them that I'm also available for them to teach a class at their house. And how I do that is I say, I really appreciated spending this night with you all, and I'm glad that you're here and taking the first step to empowering your family's health naturally. But most of the time when I do my presentation, the people who I'm talking to, the names of family members and friends come to their mind. And if that was the case for you, and you feel like you would love to share this message with some of your own family members and friends, I'm available to come and teach at your house as well. I am really busy this month, and I like to tell them, I'm not just available for any time, but I like to give them a couple dates. And I've got a full schedule this month, but I do have about 3 or 4 days that I have openings that I could teach a class at your house on. So if you are interested in securing one of those dates before my schedule fills, just come chat with me at the end of the class, and we'll get that on the calendar. So there's a lot of different ways you can do that, but just know that one of your main objectives in teaching a class is obviously to get some enrollments and to empower the people who are at your class, but it's also to keep your business going. So you had the opportunity to teach a class with the warm market of all of the friends and family of somebody in your organization. But this is also the opportunity to extend that, to be able to reach out and influence the warm market of all of the people at your class too. So make sure that you just briefly mention that also at the class, and try to get another class or 2 in the books so that you can keep right on moving. And that's it. So teaching a class is not scary. It's not overwhelming. I promise. If you can do a one-on-one presentation, then you've got the class thing too. It's pretty much the same cup of tea, just with a few more people. So you just sometimes have to encourage a little bit more interaction because sometimes they're a little shy to speak up. But what I have found that once you get them talking, then they want to continue talking, and they're there to learn. So don't be afraid if you haven't done it before, take the plunge, put it on your calendar, and then just figure it out because it'll just happen. And if you're like me, you'll love it. It's my absolute favorite part of the business. So if you have any other questions, you can reach out to us. You know that we have an awesome team here with a great mentorship program, and we are all here to help and support you. But that's it. I wish you all well, and good luck.